secrets in the dark.
This is RIFF Radio, a presentation of RIFF Magazine Online, your source for music news, interviews, and concert reviews from the Bay Area and beyond. Find more at riffmagazine.com. I am Mike DeWald. On this episode, we're joined by Bishop Briggs, a vocal powerhouse. Briggs took a years-long journey to complete her new album, Tell My Therapist I'm Fine. Joy and tragedy, heartache and love, all combining to create a monster new record. We welcome Bishop to RIFF Radio. Congratulations on the new release.
Thank you.
It's a twist. Like, it sounds like you, but it's also a little bit of a twist. I think it almost has almost like an indie rock vibe to it.
Oh my gosh. That's a great compliment.
When you're going in to write a new album, you have kind of that blank musical canvas in front of you, do you know sort of in your head what you want it to sound like eventually, where you want to go with it? Or does that sort of manifest once you start writing, once you dig in, and it sort of leads itself the rest of the way?
I mean, I really do think that writing is some mystical, magical experience where it's probably the only time in my life where I feel like there is something greater than me sort of like using me as some sort of channel. Like, you can't really explain it. And but interestingly, with this album, the first song that was written off of it was Isolated Love with Travis Barker.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember writing that and being like, wow, how freeing was it to write that way and to sing that way? I've never done that. And like, who knows if I'll do that again? That was sort of the feeling. And that was, during COVID timeframe, right before the lockdown happened. Oh. So this album has really been, years in the making. And so to be able to start from that space of being a little weary of the sort of freedom I felt in singing that way and being like, what do I do with this information? Was this just the Travis Barker effect? And then when I went to continue writing, and I found myself consistently being drawn to the music that I grew up listening to and the music that my sister was introducing me to, My Chemical Romance and that sort of era of music that, had these provocative and unique lyrics, but, these catchy melodies. And so my hope was to have some of that in there.
It's funny you mentioned My Chemical Romance. That was like when I was listening to Undone, that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like,
oh my God.
This sounds like My Chem backing Bishop Briggs, and it's awesome.
Oh my God, that is the biggest compliment ever. Now,
to have an album written and created over such a long span, like you said, I know you had your own kind of personal journey through that time. You had a new member of the family during that time. So how did you notice sort of a change in perspective in your own writing as you went along with the process, that you were sort of writing about different things and finding inspiration in different things?
Yeah, I mean, this whole album really is about these different chapters in life. And, so even with, let's say, that song Growing Pains, I was 8 months pregnant when I wrote that. And then you have a song like My Serotonin that was, I had been a mom for a year at that point, So I think the main thing that changed or shifted in my life the minute that I got pregnant or even decided to try to have a baby was having to prioritize my mental health. Mm-hmm. I was in such a dark place, obviously, with losing my sister so unexpectedly, that I had to do a lot of self-work before, even entertaining the idea of having a baby. And and even, rekindling that dream again, was really difficult and took a long time. So I think the way that affected the writing was just, at that point, that you're reading through songs that have different chapters of like that mental health journey. And even a song like Undone, that became a coping mechanism of just admitting I'm feeling frazzled. I'm feeling I'm feeling off, and using writing once again as a coping mechanism.
And you mentioned that in terms of the sound, you were thinking about bands that your sister had introduced you to. Did that end up being sort of a kind of a subtle nod to her in the process? That's kind of the
Yes,
headspace you were in?
yes, because I had written songs in the past that were very depressing, and they were just total longing for this person sort of songs. And as much as I think they were important to do, they really didn't represent her. You know, she was someone that just had the biggest smile and lit up every room and adored music and would be the person that was like front row at every concert screaming the lyrics. And a lot of that came from, you know, her going to Warped Tour, her going to Summer Sonic, um, and her finding out about bands and introducing them to me. And yeah, and so with this record, I found myself really um, being drawn to that and feeling a lot closer to her because of it, just imagining her singing those songs.
And there's an interesting contrast, kind of musical contrast on the album that even with songs where you're singing about some heavy topics, a lot of times the music with it is energetic and has this kind of vibrancy to it. Was that sort of that yin and yang balance? Okay, was that purposeful, or did it just sort of turn out that way?
Well, I do this thing when I'm writing, especially if the song, you know, if let's say the chorus is done at this point, and part of my excitement is I start envisioning performing it live. And so I think there is that upbeat energy to a lot of the music because probably halfway through the session, I found myself envisioning how I'd perform it live. And that changes everything, you know, that changes the structure of it. And because so much of my life has been touring, that was always the way that I would find out what songs people were drawn to and how they were reacting. So during this time frame of, you know, touring here and there, but you know, the whole industry around touring has shifted so much since COVID. So I just have to envision what it would be like. And I think that's why there is that energy.
Mhm. And now, yeah, you mentioned the Travis Barker collaboration. I know you also have done a lot of writing with K-Flay as well.
Oh, yes.
Just judging by social media alone, looks like possibly the most fun writing sessions you can have. Did any of that material make it to the album, or is that sort of separate projects?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I wrote with Christine or K-Flay for to see what we would come up with. And it ended up not making the cut, which I'm so upset about. But I have hope for it. I think it's gonna find a home somewhere else. But we I mean, oh, I want to show you the song, but um, yeah, but it didn't have a space on the album, but I'm hoping that I can do a little deluxe version that will involve it.
Ah, there you go. Always good to have it in the back pocket there.
Hmm.
Now,
Yes.
you mentioned the live show, and you're for people who have seen you live, there's such an energy to it,
Oh.
such a passion to the performance. Did you, I guess, how did you find that's, I almost compared it to like being like a boxer ready to hit the ring. Like, was that a natural energy you found, or did you kind of have to hype yourself up into that?
Oh my gosh, I it's funny because you know everyone expresses nervous energy in different ways, and funnily, that's how I express mine. And I truly black out. You know, it's really like an outer body experience, and then afterwards, uh, you know, I'll have people come up to me and mimic me, and I am kind of it really surprised me the first time someone did that because I was like, "What song did I do that in?" And they're like, "Every song. You're running in every song." Um, and yeah, and so it really, you know, I think the thing that I love so much about performing is it's this very freeing, cathartic experience. I will say, I growing up, I had an experience with a mic stand where basically I got given a mic stand and I got so nervous that I didn't move at all the entire performance.
Oh, wow.
I was probably like 12 or something. And so mic stands are actually banned from my stage. So I definitely do certain things to make sure that I don't lock in and freeze and yeah, and I try to step into this different version of myself.
Now, sort of an aside to that, you put up a video of an injury in rehearsals. I assume that's all okay now. Has that all worked out?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I really want to tell you all the tea about it with the dentist, but I don't think I should. I will just say I'm so grateful to the dentist that helped me. It weeks later, it's looking a little funky. Today, it's looking a little peculiar. So I have to go get it fixed again, but it's all worth it. I will say there's something about that song, the Mona Lisa on a mattress, that I almost did it again days later at the show. So it's a hazard if anyone is planning on singing that song.
As a fellow chipped tooth victim, I can relate. So when I saw it, I felt the
You
pain.
get it. You get
Now,
it.
you have been you brought your son on the road with you for some of the shows. I think there was one where you actually brought him out on stage with you. Has it
Yeah.
been is it I don't know if rewarding is the right word, but to be able to kind of immerse him in what you do and be able to bring him in on what mom does.
Yeah, I'm really, really grateful. He has come to all the shows, been on full tours with me. He learned how to walk on the last tour. And I can also do that because my husband comes with us. And so it really is, a family affair. I think that's something that I love so much about women and is that it's such a classic old school rock star male thing to be like, bye kids, I'm going on tour. And I just love that women are like, no, like we're gonna figure this out. Like let's sort this. And so I hope that it inspires the men too to bring their kids on the road, obviously only if it makes sense. And part of the thing that I appreciate with my situation is having my partner there too. Yeah, so it really is, it's the best. I think, when I allowed myself to dream of futures again, which was really difficult. I didn't see a future for myself for a long time after my sister passed away. And when I allowed myself to dream again, me walking out on stage with my baby having, the little headphones and there just being a crowd of people, that was just the vision. That was the dream. So to be able to do that was really special.
Well, and I sure to some degree, the road can be isolating in some scenarios. So I imagine sort of having family there with you, probably makes it a little more comfortable, going out on a long tour and being able to have kind of that kind of structure in place, I guess.
Oh, so true. And also, I think there is this there is this hormonal experience, where when you're away from your baby, that it's so different from before being a parent to when you're a parent. But I will say it was very cute having my baby bond with all the other bandmates and crew guys, and it was cute to see them be able to experience a little baby on the road too.
And it was I believe it was Coachella where you went on stage and did an hour-long set while you were pregnant, which I think I saw an interview where you were like, I'm glad I did it, but also not again.
You're correct. No, I'm so glad I did it. I I think it's crazy that I did that. It's crazy. But yeah, I will say I hope this is funny, but I mean it to be funny. So at the time I was 6 or 7 months pregnant, and I'm running around on stage. Anyways, I got off stage and I opened my phone, and there were these comments online that said, like, she needs to lay off the beers.
No.
She's looking terrible. Maybe she shouldn't be having the beers. Anyways, that did make me laugh. But no, I mean, it is the coolest experience ever. But I think there is this beautiful naivety, when you're like, I'll just do what I did before. And it all felt so good. There was, it felt so positive on stage, but I definitely was very tired after.
Now, you along the way, I know probably in the early stages of the album, you got there were a few other kind of fun sort of side projects you got to be involved with. I think both of them were super fun. You not only were on the Masked Singer, you also were a judge on No Cover, and I was a fan of both of those. And
oh my gosh, thank you.
Was it fun to just mix it up and do something totally different like that, and put yourself in a completely different environment?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the Masked Singer and No Cover were in completely different chapters of life. No Cover, No Cover, I wasn't, I mean, how do I say this? So No Cover was booked at such a fragile time in my life. I had just gone through the experience with my sister, and this was already booked. This was something I had made a commitment to. And I can't express how grateful I am that show existed, because I had to show up each day, hear incredible music, talk to different artists. I had to get dressed. I had to brush my teeth. And, anyone that's going through grief knows that those things are so hard. And anyways, and so that show just represents something so special to me, because it really helped me through that time and that time period. And then Masked Singer, I am backstage pumping. I have a little newborn at home, just completely different, totally different time frames. And I think what I loved so much about the Masked Singer was that I got to have some pick with the songs. So being able to do the Black Parade, this really just sounds like we're a fan account for My Chemical Romance, but we are. But being able to do that was just the best experience ever. And and I had no idea what to expect going into that.
And now with the album so close and being able to get back out on the road for that, I mean, you mentioned before that the touring landscape is so different for bands and artists now. Are you hopeful you'll be able to get out and hit the road for some shows in support of the album?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I'm hoping in the new year, and I will definitely be out there. No matter how much the landscape has changed, I will be out there.
Now, I guess the big rumor is that Warped Tour is coming back. So if that comes to pass, is it? Are we going to see Bishop Briggs on the bill?
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
It's floating around. I don't know if it's true or not, but it at least.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I am going to do so much with that information you just told me. I would love to do that. I mean, that would be so full circle to be able to do that.
There you go. Well, there's a new goal to add on to the 2025 list. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes. The album's amazing. Can't wait for you to get back to the Bay Area here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Our thanks to Bishop Briggs. The new album, Tell My Therapist I'm Fine. Also, find her on the road early next year, playing the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco, March 15th. As always, find more at riffmagazine.com. For Riff Radio, I'm Mike DeWald.